Hey guys, I'm going to talk about TRT and how to determine whether you need it or not. Because in a lot of cases, it's not as simple as just getting a blood test and checking your levels. I'll also discuss what you can address first in terms of lifestyle changes and things that could be contributing towards low testosterone. Finally, I'll go into the key markers on blood work to look at and evaluate before you proceed with TRT. So TRT refers to testosterone replacement therapy, and it aims to restore testosterone levels to a place whereby men suffering from hypergonadism or low testosterone can get symptom relief and a higher quality of life. So low testosterone can manifest in a bunch of ways, and it varies from person to person. But symptoms typically include low libido, mood disorders like anxiety and depression, low motivation and drive, brain fog, insomnia, decreased morning erections, difficulty building muscle and recovering from training, low bone density, which increases the risk of osteoporosis, decreased facial hair growth, and high blood pressure. So my experience with low testosterone, although I didn't get a blood test prior to using androgens, that's actually one of my biggest regrets, actually, because I'm so curious as to what my levels actually were. I started a testosterone cycle with the goal of athletic performance and not symptom relief of hypergonadism. The dose was 300 milligrams, so definitely pushing super physiological ranges right out of the gate and not just replacement levels. And I remember within days, my libido was skyrocketing. I'd random boners popping up all day, and I was waking up with morning wood almost daily consistently. Prior to using testosterone, I had a lot of anxiety. I never really had depression, but I didn't really have any motivation to do anything. And I had brain fog to the point where I couldn't really focus on anything productive for a prolonged period of time. When I started taking testosterone, all of that changed. A lot of my anxiety evaporated, and I became a lot more motivated and driven to pursue what I'm passionate about. Now, I believe the cause of my hypergonadism and low testosterone was a varicocele that I probably got in my teenage years from, either fighting at school. I'd get in a lot of fights in like primary and secondary school, or from trampolining. And I started lifting weights at 19, and I did get decent results, but I put that down to more me being so consistent with it that I was in the gym 5 days a week, aside from when I was recovering from an injury or something. And I did that for almost a decade before touching anything PED related. Now, in hindsight, I can see that my libido and motivation were not where they should have been, and I wasn't aware of just how important hormones are. So what actually causes low testosterone then? I would say for the majority of guys, it's just age. Your testosterone will peak in your early 20s, and then it will slowly decline by about 1 or 2% every year. Due to this slow decline, men just put it down to getting older. And in a way, that's true, We're not supposed to have peaking hormone levels all throughout our life. It's just one of those biological things, you age and your hormones drop off. That's just the way it is. And the symptoms of low testosterone can come on so slowly and gradually to the point where a lot of men don't even notice because it's crept up on them over years and decades. And quite often it's not until guys look back and remember how much energy and motivation they used to have when their testosterone levels were much higher in their 20s and 30s. So as well as just age, there's also injuries and what I like to call medical anomalies that can cause low testosterone. So things like benign pituitary tumors, varicoceles, direct damage to the pituitary gland. A lot of fighters will get this as they get further into the career and they take a lot of head damage, direct damage to the testes, and even genetic predispositions like underproducing luteinizing hormone and overproducing sex hormone binding globulin. Finally, there's also lifestyle factors that can influence testosterone levels. And I would say that it's definitely worth doing your due diligence and addressing some of these before you consider TRT. For example, chronic stress caused by things like work, if you're in a stressful job, financial difficulties, and even relationship and family problems can have a devastating impact on your hormone levels. So when we're exposed to stress, the hormone cortisol increases, which is your body's main stress hormone, which puts us in that kind of jumpy, jittery fight or flight state, the sympathetic nervous system. In nature, that's quite useful. It heightens our senses, raises our heart rate and blood pressure. You best believe if you're a caveman being chased by a tiger, you want a nice healthy drip of adrenaline and cortisol in your blood. The problem is, though, that when stress becomes chronic, it causes a disruption to the production of luteinizing hormone in the pituitary gland, which is the signal that's sent from the pituitary gland in the hypothalamus to the testes to signal them to produce testosterone. Sleep's another big one too. Luteinizing hormone is released in pulses. It's at its highest during REM sleep. So if you're sleeping like shit, that means less luteinizing hormone, and less luteinizing hormone means less testosterone. Stress can also disrupt sleep and impact sleeping quality, leading to a nasty compounding effect that will both decimate your testosterone levels. It's a vicious cycle. All right, diet then. Certain foods can increase testosterone levels. Eggs and red meats are probably the best for this. They both contain a lot of the building blocks and cholesterol that are required for hormone production. I don't want to turn this into a diet video, but I'm willing to bet that if you had 100 vegans and 100 people, not even on a carnivore diet, on a balanced diet, that the 100 vegans would have a much worse hormonal profile and lower testosterone levels. All right, next up, exercise. Weight training has been shown to increase testosterone levels and increase androgen receptor density. There's been numerous studies done, and they conclude that people who do some type of resistance training generally have higher testosterone levels than untrained, sedentary individuals. Now, the aim of TRT should be relief from symptoms and not just chasing some arbitrary number on a blood test. While the numbers on a test, they can be a good guide as to what's going on, they don't paint the full picture. For example, you could have a guy that might have normal in-range testosterone levels on a test, but might still be suffering from symptoms of low testosterone. This can be caused by high SHBG, which binds to sex hormones like testosterone and prevents them from binding to the androgen receptor, essentially making them useless. It's also worth saying too that a blood test is just one single snapshot in time, and it can be influenced by so many things like your diet recently, the time of day, last night's sleep. So it's worth doing more than one test and then taking an average. It's also worth pointing out that guys can find symptom relief at different levels. One guy might get symptom relief from bringing his test from 250 to 700, and another guy might need to take his levels from what seems to be in the normal reference range to above the reference range and into super physiological territory just to get symptom relief. So there's no one size fits all approach, and each case needs to be handled differently. So what should you look out for on a blood test? There's four main things really: total testosterone, free testosterone, luteinizing hormone, and sex hormone binding globulin. Total testosterone is the total amount of testosterone in the blood, both bound and unbound by SHBG. While it's often enough to determine what's going on, it doesn't always paint the full picture. Free testosterone is actually a more important reading because this is the amount that's actually bioavailable and unbound by SHBG. Luteinizing hormone is the signaling hormone that's produced by the pituitary gland in the hypothalamus and signals to the testes to produce testosterone. So when luteinizing hormone's low, usually testosterone is too. Sex hormone binding globulin is created by the liver and acts as a transporting molecule for sex hormones. Total testosterone levels might be normal, but symptoms of low testosterone might still occur if SHBG is too high. SHBG binds to testosterone and prevents it from binding to the receptor sites. That's why free testosterone is a more important reading than total testosterone. So do you need TRT? If you've addressed and exhausted all the lifestyle stuff and there's nothing that's glaringly obvious, like an injury or a medical anomaly, as I like to call it, and you're still suffering from symptoms of low testosterone, then TRT is definitely something that's worth considering. In my next video, I'm going to talk about how to find your ideal dose for TRT. So make sure to look out for that. And this is the first of a bunch of videos I've got planned on TRT. So if you're interested, definitely subscribe so you don't miss this content. And you know what, this channel's actually popping off a bit. It doesn't sound like much, but I've got 15 subscribers in the last 30 days, and I'm super grateful for that. So thank you so much, guys, and it just motivates me to want to keep making these videos to help you guys. So again, thanks for watching. Check out the blog, enhancedplayer.com. See you next time.